Hey, everybody, welcome to Delicately Wild. We have Lusama in the house. Whoop, whoop. I'm very pumped. I was chatting to his wife earlier today, so we welcome husband and wife in the same timeline. And yeah, this is just a conversation. Feel free to bounce things back. And anyone that is listening, if you are enjoying the podcast so far and you have any comments, likes, shares, please do so. And I think what's important here is that everybody gets a very broad perspective of what awakening and ascension looks like to different people around the planet, and how they are very similar as well. Like there's been a lot of similar themes coming up, like when our awakening occurs, maybe there's a death in the family, maybe it's from a cultural genetic disposition or lineage, like the Sangoma stuff. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, it's okay. So actually, let me just take a moment and grab this container because the two of you are very open. So welcome, everybody. Lusama, give me a sec, taking in a breath with me. Just dropping deeply into your body, into your heart. Just give me a sec. Ora ere ia katara er. Siondona ere ia chakata er ki. Piontona ere ia tanta ekesha isitintia talaki. Aurora ere iaraki araki acha er. Andon tenti antana ere ki antana ere koto tia talaki aro koto ti antara kia sakata te I. Siondona e ti antara e kia chakate er. Taking a deep breath in with me through your heart. And let it all out. Okay. Beautiful. Awesome. So, Lusama, I met a couple of years back. I don't even know how you found me. How did you find me?
It was through Lonwabo.
Ah, okay. Okay.
I had been to one of your ceremonies.
Yes, okay. Lonwabo was the guy whose light language kind of activated a little bit, correct? Yes, okay. How is he doing?
We just chatted a week ago. Life is good. Life is progressing. Family is growing.
Okay.
So growth happened.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, it's hectic, obviously, in the work environment.
Yeah, the 3D work environment. Are you still working for SABC?
Yeah, now I am again. Well, I was till a month ago. I was script writing now for Mubango, the vendor soap
Okay.
on SABC. So I finally got inside the writer's room, which helped. I was
Beautiful.
working now at least, being a
Nice.
dad, taking kids to school and taking back from school. It was nice. It's
Nice.
nice.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, a good introduction. Let's have you begin. Like, how was your first introduction to me? Maybe share that story, and then we'll go into your backstory with regards to your belief systems and your awakening.
Yeah. So I had not expected to come across well, we never know how our paths will cross. I because I'm in this traditional healing space and spiritual space, Ulonwabo that introduced me to you, who was a person who always came to me for like advice on what to do when you're trying to do these things in traditional space. And he came ecstatic this one time saying, yo, you have to meet Briggs. You have to actually, yo, oh, sorry guys. You actually have to, okay, now they're coming hard. So you have to go to this ceremony, mushroom ceremony. And then we had an interview when, obviously, before we met. And we spoke, and I told her about my journey, how I used to see other entities, and now it's with my mind's eye. And then it was prepping for the actual ceremony, which was, which was out of this world. Didn't know what to expect. And
let me just add here, guys. Lusama got his ass kicked.
yeah.
And he's a big man. He's a big Zulu man, right? Like,
Awesome, man.
Okay, Koso man. Yeah.
So, I get shivers, Briggs, even thinking about from when we started at the temple, and I might be erratic talk here and there, thinking
Okay.
and like thinking of how it felt, but the first feeling was like it felt like I was dying. It was letting go. It really felt like just in my stomach, but it felt like, okay, I'm not dying. I'm just going through something I can't explain in words. And throughout the process, as you were holding the space, and I, to lack, maybe lacking a better word to explain, it felt like then it opened up into another space that I was never open to. Like what I saw, I entered to. It's not the reality I knew. And I remember Stuart, and I even remember when it first started kicking my ass, you said, hey, because I was almost kicking the speakers when the music was playing. It's like, remember control. There was a word you said that there was something you said
I
was to
came to
control
you.
us.
I came to you and I said, remember I said it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Yes, I said it's
And
okay to be vulnerable.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I said, now, how are you doing? And you said, Briggs, I am terrified. You said,
Yeah.
I am terrified. And I said, good. Okay, cool. And you were kind of like, hold on, let me check if you did say this. I think you kind of said something like, how do we make it stop? And I was like, we're in it now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're in
I
it
remember
now.
yeah.
You did
That's
say,
not the
how do I
thing.
make it stop? Hey.
And you actually turned at some stage at me and you're like, it's fucking yeah, hey.
Just so you know, guys, I work a lot with a sense of humor as well. Each facilitator is different. My ceremonies are a very serious space, a very high frequency space, but I'm still connecting with the human being. I know we're in hyperspace, but I want to ground all aspects of the being in, and sometimes using humor really connects with the human being, not our God avatar selves. That's like, so
That actually helped when you said that.
yeah,
I
because
think it's sort of like, okay, we are all still here type of.
correct, exactly. I'm not even though I am some higher dimensional being that
Yeah,
represents the God source and guardianship,
yeah,
but I'm also just B, so it's
yeah.
like B speaking to
He's
Lusama,
here.
saying, yeah, this is fucking you up. But I kind of warned you about it as well. I was like, oof,
You did.
yeah.
And when I think it was Kesh and Stuart trying to help out, we were outside, and then everything just changed. Obviously, I saw who they really were. I saw everything the way it really was. Um, I remember crawling towards the fire. There was a bonfire, and there was a calling for me at the river. But I held back. I won't lie. I won't deny. But everyone could hear what I heard, and they said, "Yeah, if it's calling, go," because I was not saying anything. I was just doing. I was just in another space. And the thought of my son was like, "Oh, what if I don't come back?" I remember thinking that. I kept
A lot of
calling out his,
parents have that, yeah.
kept on calling out his name, Kalima, Kalima, and Kalima means rebuke, by the way, in English. That's how I named him, to rebuke evil. So I kept on saying Kalima, oh Kalima, oh Kalima. But the experience, guys, that experience, there's no words to articulate that feeling. Honestly speaking. But it's the after that I was yearning for more, and to date. I remember just weeping, walking inside, because I just felt love. I just felt love for you guys, everyone, existence, everything, one. Just, it was just pure love. I've never felt that ever.
Yeah.
And that's what I yearn for every day. I mean, if we were talking substance abuse and a person trying to get that first high, I would love to just get that love, that feeling of love, unconditional love. So that was the magnificent experience I've had.
Yeah. I think when we were in the car traveling back, you said to me, you said something like, Briggs, I remember this always so clearly and I'm forgetting it now. Hold on. You said something like, so how was it? And you were like, Briggs, you didn't tell me that you were going to show me heaven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I explained it for the first time coming back from there, telling my wife, I was like, I don't know what they say about Eden. I don't know what they say about heaven, but what I experienced was heaven. And that was God, actually. When I said what I experienced was God.
Yeah.
Because now I know what people say when they say you made, like, it's unconditional love that he has for us, the creators. So I felt that. When I came out, obviously, from the journey, that's what I felt.
Yeah, just pure love. Yeah. What is your descriptor of God? What is God to you? How do you label it? How do you identify it with it? Do you personify it?
Well, before I even go to personifying God, God is, I don't want to answer something from a clouded information from what I know already through traditional healing, but God is here. Like Idlozi, God is within us all. So God is not exterior for me.
Right. Yeah.
He's in here more than out. Well, obviously, he exudes there.
And I mean, Idlozi is a word that is used in traditional medicine, right?
Yeah.
And it's meaning God is in here.
Yeah, well, Idlozi, nobody's ever defined, actually. You know, there's so
But
many.
isn't it a word very specifically used in
word.
Twasa, right?
It's a specific word in traditional healing.
Yes.
Like the cloth you have behind you.
Yes.
It's that journey. They speak of Idlozi as a spirit.
Yes.
And as a high priest spirit, so to speak.
So essentially, by use of that word within the traditional healing spectrum, what it is meaning, if I'm using it in the very English translation, would be to find that inner spirit of God within. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now
although they do separate.
Yeah.
Although they do separate, because now it's personified God, as in the spirit that is God who created.
Okay.
Although when you go deeper in understanding, it's basically that your inner spirit, your inner core self,
Yes.
this is your God.
Yes.
So layman, they don't, I'll say, denotated or connotated in that it's your God self.
Yes.
But those that are more enlightened now,
And the gobelas and gogos and mkulus, do they, I mean, surely they are teaching that this is the God self that we're trying to connect to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was having a chat with Zola, and one of the things I asked her, so I'll ask you, is within the traditional healing teachings, do you think there is enough that is taught about the heart and love? Yeah, she answered the same thing, because so now I'm calling it. So now I'm calling it out, because if we're speaking, so my previous question was, are those high councils, so the high priests and priestesses, which was just a projection of a word there, those that are teachers within African tradition that we call sangomas or gogos, mkulus, and gobelas, we've just said that they're teaching about Idlozi, which is the inner, but you've also said that there's a separation there with the word. And so we're saying we're trying to reach the inner Godhead, yet we're not teaching about the heart and love. So this is this is where someone like me comes in, and I'm calling out on the dissonance. How can we meet that inner Godhead, which whatever we call it? Because let's say, for example's sake, in the traditional healers, specifically South Africans, there are many that will channel an ancestor through them, right? But if you're not channeling through the heart point, which is that love, that Godhead that you experience, that heaven on earth, this is our body is the earth body, right? If we're not channeling through that heart space and it's not being taught, then what are we channeling, right? Number one. Number two, perhaps this is hypothetically speaking, just through the thought process I have, is perhaps this is why we are recycling frequencies within Africa, and those frequencies are not uplifting us anymore, because maybe we're channeling the same fucking set of ancestors again. Absolute respect to the pure ancestors, but we have to begin to understand that there are imposter spirits that use spiritually gifted people whose channels are open to fucking confuse them and to keep us in a loop. And this is my fear when I'm watching, observing, as I am as an elder, particularly within African medicine work. And to be honest, let me not separate that. That is a theme that runs throughout many lineages, and it's what we're here to correct in the now timeline, because we need to progress, or we should be choosing to. Let's not say need. We should be choosing to progress, and we can only progress through the heart. That's the teachings of all masters.
So I must say, I think where the lines become blurry in because I've been to a couple of traditional healers, different gobelas, different kulus. So I can at least attest and generalize a bit.
Yes.
That, I mean, if 1 to 4 or 3, and the pattern is the same. So with them, it's like there's so many unsaid things that you don't need. It's still a dictatorship in the sense that just do as I tell you, and I can't explain. I don't think they even know how to explain. That's why they don't explain, but it just comes out harsh, because you just told this discipline, don't eat that, don't do this, where I've learned about why those things were said.
Yes.
Because now they made sense, but they couldn't explain. So even with the discipline, that's the form of love. But I must say, the last one where me and my wife met, Zola met, that's the one that's the only principle that preached love. Because I remember, before I could channel and consult and hear what Spirit says when someone comes to sit in front of me, she kept on saying, it was a praise and worship when we were trusting via God, so to speak.
Via the Zionists. It was just through the Zionists,
But it was a level where all Sangomas must bow to us. She kept on saying, this is top tier. You are not Sangomas. You guys use God as your That's what she used to say.
I'm going to
So
pause you there. I'm going to pause you there because that's a very powerful statement. You guys use God. That's the whole fucking point. Okay.
yeah,
And not personifying God, but the God source energy, the pure channel. And yet we are, yeah, it's just so deep. It's so deep. Carry on.
yeah. So when I started going there, she kept on saying Nozulu is my clan name. So we were called by clan names there. Nozulu, Ulinkiziyo mntana, meaning Nozulu, open your heart. And I kept on asking, Mama, what do you mean? Nozulu. Oh, no, no. I rephrase. She said, Nozulu, geza inkiziyo, meaning wash your heart, cleanse your heart, cleanse your heart. And I kept on saying, Mama, what are you saying? She's like, just cleanse your heart, cleanse your heart. And she was she's illiterate, can't read, like she's a rural lady in suburbia, and she still does things backwards according to society. And when I started practicing that, I was like, okay. She's like, just have love. Banotando, mntanam, banotando. So I literally consciously did it. Like, okay, let me practice that. Let me practice that.
Yeah,
And then
cleanse
you
your
sort of
heart.
forget.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. And then you sort of forget, and then you just become that. I kid you not, that was the first time I would spin, hold someone as I'm spinning, singing, and I would know everything about it. And then she's like, now practice. Start with the kids, because you'll be embarrassed if it's an elderly person and you're speaking hogwash, rubbish. So I
Yes.
started with the kids, and then I started talking. So I started consulting with the kids. Yo, this place is vibrating high now, please. So I started consulting with the kids, right? And I remember I would talk to, there was one young girl, I think 11 or 12. I held her and I spoke about this boy. And I thought I was speaking to a boy because my eyes were closed. And then she's like, hi, boo, to chat on my brother. I'm like, no, bro, you're talking about my brother here. I was like, call him. He must come back to. She's like, everything you've described, that's him. Everything you said is happening. That's him. Everything. And then, because the more you channel and you do that, the more confident you become.
Yeah.
Then that's when I started. And then I remember the last stroke was like I started going to everyone now. Now I didn't even need to spin, and I'm like, if I feel it, I go to you. I became more, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this one old guy, old man, my dad's age even. I went to him and he had a staff. He was working with a staff. So I remember going up with the staff, talking to him, and I went on about this son of his that needs to do this for him to survive. He's going through these health issues. You neglecting him. The spirits are angry. No. I went on for a good 5 minutes, nonstop. And then he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such. My son is here with my wife. And then I pulled his ear. I was like, I'm talking about the son you never disclosed.
Oh.
He walked out, he never came back, but at least he got the message.
Yeah.
And at least when I was talking to him, I wasn't talking so that the wife and the
Yes.
Because those are the type of people that also,
Did you get that message about it was the son that he didn't disclose only after he denied what you were talking about? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So because I did it, because where we were twassing, that lady was just preaching love. We were not even supposed to talk about who's bewitching and
exactly.
It's the best. Yeah, so we were elevated in that sense. But so what I know now, because I've been reading even in these spiritual realms, that when we were trusting, we were trying to fix Akashic records. So they didn't put it that way there.
Yes.
But now I understand when I look at what we used to do there.
Yes.
And how we used to tell people that, no, your great grandmother was killed in a fire. You need to make peace. Do you understand? So
Yes, yes. It's the
now it's not
ancestral, yeah.
ancestral alignment.
Yeah, and the ancestral healing and the healing of the karmic timelines and things like that. And of course, you know, to those that are listening, unfortunately or fortunately, it just happens this way, but you will evolve through a set of spiritual language, right? And that language is there not to make anyone feel less than or for others to feel higher than, but from my perspective, the language is there as an increased coding to hold frequency, because everything we say, we think, we do holds a frequency. So we can, for example's sake, earlier you said, you know, and I spoke to Zola about this, that within Sangoma tradition, the ancestors are, there's a high probability of them being angry, right? When you were speaking now, you even said that the spirits were angry, and then we gave XYZ message. What I realized in that moment was that, let's say, for example's sake, you have an African, sorry, hold on. An African collective or person or whatever, it doesn't matter. And then we have our white collective, right? The African people are connecting to their traditions through connecting via spirit, which they call the ancestors. But we also have a huge language difference here between, from English language, from African people to colonized white people, right? So when you said it, I was like, oh, maybe it's all in mistranslation. So it feels like the ancestors are always angry because that's the one word that can get communicated. Meantime, we could say the ancestors are, let's say, for example, if we rephrase it with different language, we could say the ancestors are looking to clear the karmic and ancestral timeline in order for you to create peace in your reality so that they can move on in their reality. Spot on, right? And I've just clicked that now of like, it's also a language thing. And so this is the thing. It's like, when we're using language and everything is frequency, we have to be so careful. And for me, it has, my experience stereotypically has been the ancestors are angry. And again, karmically, I understand that based on what's happened in South Africa, you know, with apartheid and racism and stuff. Of course I understand it. But what I never understood was like, and I think I've just answered it, like what I never understood was, if we've got higher beings that are feeling more of a spectrum of love, the fuller frequency of God source energy, dimensionalized energy, and there's many layers, then why is there so much anger? Why are we still holding on to the frequency of anger? But I think I've just answered it. It's miscommunication, misinterpretation, and that which keeps us looped. And so there's that statement, and there's, if we are not teaching twices and initiates to channel through the heart, then you can get some naughty spirits that are just wanting to keep you entrapped, you know. Because when we go bigger into galactic history, and this is what I assume your interest lies in, the AZURITE Temple, is when we go into galactic history, we can see how long planet Earth has been in a false system, a false matrix. This is where artificial intelligence comes in. So we have to be very, 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 very careful what we allow in and through our system, you know. And although there's this innate natural gift with African people, from my perspective, actually, to me, far more than most, we have to be careful because there's so much power there, but it has to be utilized in unconditional love.
That's why we stopped. There, we were told not to. Hence, I kept on saying that in my journey, I think I mentioned this to you even the first time we met, that I don't like being the prophet of doom, because when I had opened up where I could hear the messages and consult with people, I could literally pinpoint the house. I would describe the colleague, what they like wearing, if they have a wart. I would see in my mind's eye, when I'm talking to you, I would see the person that's actually trying to kill you or bewitch you, type of thing. And I had to practice very hard, because we left that place for 8 years, me and my wife, and we went back before my mother passed, because she was very ill. And by then I was like, now I'm trying to practice this, just preaching love, guidance. I mean, I remember consulting with a kid who came with his aunt, that, do you play soccer, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, but you like electronics? He's like, yeah. And he sat up, because he was not with us. He was a young kid, and it was like, okay, now someone is talking about what I want to hear. I was like, actually, I think you should focus on that. The soccer is not, yes, carry on with it, but I think this engineering thing of yours will take you far. So I had to practice looking at situations that way, because they all come and speak. Like, you get these messages so quick as you're sitting in front of me, and it's difficult for me to now we can't have a pause for 10 minutes, me not saying anything when you came to consult. I have to keep on telling you, but now I have to avoid the fact that your sister-in-law, I must run away. Then your sister-in-law comes up again. They're telling me about your sister-in-law. So I must dodge it again. But now those that are giving me those messages are those that like them be. That don't mind the controversy.
Yes.
You see?
But and this is the thing, is like, I'm not sure what set of rules, or what set of rules let's say this practice that you've been talking about, we are abiding by, let's say consulting as a sangoma, simply put it, right? I don't know what set of rules we're consulting by, because the way I work and how I have been working, and this is why I say to you, that code of ethics before we go into the AZURITE temple is the biggest teaching of the entire temple space before we even go in. Because, for example's sake, like you explained now, it's like, when if I was in that situation and I went into consult and all this information was coming through, in essence, we have to be strong enough, centered enough, grounded enough, and wise enough within our power as God source communicator here to know that that is not this is not in alignment for the highest good, for the highest potential, for the highest timeline output. It is not relevant at this point in time, nor is it in alignment with this current soul contract. Because even though he's only coming to a consultation for an hour, there is a soul contract here for you to communicate information for the betterment and empowerment of the soul in front of you. And so if you're giving every auntie and uncle's messages that are irrelevant and actually just confusing timelines, it's your job, it's your job as God creator being, communicator, humangelic, to be like, no, this is not for the highest good right now. That I only want that one message or the two. So move out the way, filter, 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 filter. Thank you. This is what I'm here contracted to do and communicate, and that's how. So I spoke about a set of laws, and those laws are the laws of the universe, right? The laws of the universe. Also, what is a soul in consult ready to receive? Right? And also they may not be ready, and that communicated message that they're not ready for is the perfect message for them to catapult them into the next part of their experience on earth. But there may be information that soul is not ready for at their level of consciousness, and it's not actually in alignment for you to give them that information just yet, because you may be taking away an experience that will lead them to that answer on their own, you know.
But to be honest, Briggs, in our community, the Black community specifically, people who believe in traditional healers, Sangoma, Amagqirha, whatever you call them, if you want to come preaching love, Briggs, that's not
I
what I want to
know,
hear.
I
I
know.
want to hear who is making me not get a job.
I know, but this is why I'm saying, this is why you've entered into the space. And this is why I say, this is so deep and it's so wild. And, you know, this is why the show is called Delicately Wild. And I'm going to say this now because we're in a safe space and I'm here to push boundaries, right? So based on what I've just said, contractually, I feel comfortable to say this because it needs to be said. But Africa needs to be very, very careful because, hold on, I want to say this in a different way. Let me link it into further conversation first. So it's like, you can either be the message bringer in the consult in the consult, right? Or you can bring a be the message bringer and simultaneously a teacher. And I may be saying that because I hold very much a teacher blueprint, right? It's not all of me. It's also nothing. But to me, to teach is to empower, and to teach is merely to ask people to question themselves. And this is the thing within our historical relationship with Sangomas and traditional healers. They want answers. They don't want to find the answer from that Idlozi within.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where the Sangomas, and again, not only Sangomas, this is full spectrum through, where light workers need to be very careful of how we are actually disempowering a soul by giving them straight up information that is not in accordance with the universal laws, because you are not empowering that person. Of course, you can give a little and you know, soften. Yes, soften, but to empower and go, you know the answer. Okay, let me help you draw it out. You know what I mean?
I kept on, I won't lie, even to date, there are many people that have also sort of guided to open up a bit, and now they get dreams, etc. In what I know, I share. But when I give a person information that, okay, there's this curse around you, you have to do this, and that to sort it out for help. And the minute you ask me, who cursed me, or where does it come from, I'm not ashamed to say no, this is not the issue.
Yes.
That's not the issue right now. But I want to know, and then I ask, and then what? You're gonna walk out here with your heart sore, and you're gonna go fight
and angry, yes,
and angry. And like, no, I won't be angry. You all say that. I'm not telling you anything. So
and
whether
this
you're
is the
upset with
thing,
me,
there's a story here, and this is what we're trying to eliminate, is the stories. That's what I've been writing in the AZURITE Temple the whole time. This is about dissolution of the stories, dismantling of the stories. So what we're talking about here is people coming in with their storyline, so a timeline that represents a story, and wanting another story to fix that story. But we're not looking at truths, and we're not actually teaching about energy. You know, so we're actually, they're coming to a prophet, a seer, a prophet, to either validate their story, but nowhere in the story are they learning about energy and their accountability, responsibility with regards to this curse or this story. And that's where energy workers come in. You know, because a prophet is a prophet is a prophet. It's like going to the oracle reader or a psychic. There was a time where I visited psychics early on in my journey, and the last psychic that I went to, I remember as I booked it, and he was fucking expensive. As I booked it, I was like, oh, you've made him like. The moment I paid, I was like, oh, you silly girl, like this is not going to work anymore. It's not that I won't get information, but I thought, okay, lesson learned, expensive lesson. Let me go to him. And I said to him, I'm not meant to go to psychics anymore, right? And he was like, no. I said, this will be your last session. I said, I know. And I said, I'd like to confirm why that is, like based on what I'm understanding. He's like, go for it. I said, essentially, you are speaking to those that have passed. You're speaking to fourth dimensional beings. As a shaman and a healer, at the frequency that I'm at, I'm dealing with higher dimensional, energies, frequencies, right? He's like, yes. He said, there are entities here that I am not strong enough in my frequency to bring in and channel, because most people just go to a psychic for the prophecy, right? To validate the story. Is my husband okay who passed away? Did he leave me a little rose under the thing? Are they safe? Do they still think about us? Am I going to get married to Joe Schmo down the road? These things. It's love, sex, marriage, money, right? Love, sex, marriage, money, and
So this
career.
is how we talk about this later. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
And
also
actually, with my work, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm saying we're connecting to a etheric blueprint, to your spirit, which has all got to do with the heart. It's not about materialism at all. And he said that, there were entities there, or frequencies there, that he said if he tried to bring them in, he would explode, like his nervous system would explode. And I was like, okay, I now understand. And so now I understood what a psychic / prophet was, one that could see, one that could hear, get information, and now understand what my role was as that one who is working in higher dimensional frequencies with higher dimensional beings. So yeah, just wanted to share that.
Yeah, and we use that a lot. Also, by the way, when I was laughing as you were speaking, I was also recently told by a medium. Well, my grandpa came through, and he blocked my mom or my dad from coming through. Because the previous time they came through, mom, dad came through, they gave the messages, and this time around, he came alone and was like, "What are you doing here?" So this medium, I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm here to ask about." And he forbid me from ever consulting a medium. And he said, why are you doing what you can do? That's
Yes,
basically how the say that.
yes, yes.
But I was like, guys, I honestly said to them when I go to the rivers and all, like I go talk to them. I mean, I can talk to them in my heart, but sometimes I go to their spaces and I just give them gifts. And I was like, but I'm also, don't forget that I'm human, I'm flesh, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I talk to them like I'm friends. I'm like, I'm
Yes,
flesh.
yes,
So
yes.
sometimes it's difficult because I see other people's problems. Like you don't self-diagnose. So
Yeah,
sometimes I need. So I asked them. I specifically asked them, just come back to the dreams then. Like
yeah.
at least when I was still dreaming, at least that was validation. Because I mean, for the past week, I've dreamt my uncle who passed away in 2000.
Mm,
And he's never come to me. I've dreamed of a friend who passed was shot. Like I've been dreaming. I've dreamt of my mom.
mm,
Ever since she passed, I kept on asking, "What? Yeah, when did you appear?" Because for me, because since I was a young boy, it was the dreams that made me feel that I am this,
mm,
right?
mm,
So I won't lie, I still needed to have those dreams to make me feel okay.
mm.
Okay, now
And also, I'm going
yeah.
to ask a question here. It's like, it might be triggering, but it's just my personality and humor, right? So it's like, what level of, maybe let's say, addiction do we have to receive this information, whether it be through a medium, psychic, or for ourselves?
Oh, it's 200.
There's an
Yo,
addiction. My
oh, it's an
friends and I, we
addiction.
used to see like, oh, that spiritual crack. Give me a medium, give me a message, give me the psychic. And this
Yes.
is a trap, it's wonderful in the beginning of your journey, because and usually that's how it happens in the beginning of your journey. You're like, oh my gosh.
Mm.
But then you have to self-resource and self-source. And this is what that heart is about. This is what trusting is about, yeah. So it's quite addictive.
Uh, I mean, from 2008, trusting, it always felt like this is not the level. Like I think I texted you last week or a week ago that things are starting to happen. That I
Mm,
know it's probably my eye piercing through this dimension. I lack a
Mm-hmm.
better way to explain it, but
Mm-hmm.
because already my eye sees, like if I'm conversing with you, I can see the grandpa, like I can see the ancestors. So
Mm-hmm.
it was starting to make me jumpy. And then I went to go listen to the solstice. It was starting to make me jumpy, not fear whatsoever.
Mm,
I don't get hairs that I'm scared or
mm,
this is bad spirit, but it
mm,
made me jump that what was that? Or
mm.
do you understand that what
Yes.
am I seeing? So it feels there's a lot I wish I wrote down before the interview that even with me that is happening because I'm elevating. I can feel that I'm
Mm.
elevating. I just don't know where to.
Yes. Yes, I understand. And that's exactly why we're stepping into this container. And it was a big process for me to create this, even though the process has not been the container itself, it's the process is self-process, the shadow work that I needed to go through, because each of us on our spiritual journey will go through initiation after initiation after initiation. And your initiation time is usually a death process time. You're back in shaman's death or dark night of the soul or whatever what you want to call it, but you're in the shadows, you're in the depth of your psyche, right? And you kind of just want to disappear. You want to bypass, you want to turn back the clock, you
Mm.
just want to say fuck it and do it on your own and really become recluse, the hermit. I had 6 months of that this year, like 6 months. It was fucking deep, fucking long, torturous, lonely, hurtful. It was deep, but now on the other side I've come to this creation space. But because of what I went through there, I was like, can I do this? Is it in alignment for me to do it? Is it the ego doing it? Is it this? Many things. So this is why I say the spiritual laws keep you in check with the container. But ultimately, I came to simplify it, where I was like, there is a certain level of experience you have on this earth reality based on the path you have chosen for yourself. So many others that are on their spiritual path within our world have their normal jobs, and then their spirituality is a meditation in the evening and a retreat here and a yoga class here. But it is my world. I am immersed in it 24/7 and have been so for 10 years more and a little bit more, right? And so and not only that, but the level of work that I've done in terms of human understanding, the human psyche, the mind, the soul. I've worked with a lot of people in deep shamanic space. I mean, your experience, for example, say that's a fucking deep space to hold. That's a big space to hold, right? So I had the conversation with myself as, Brigitte, you have this experience. And there are people asking for your assistance. So if we take all the bells and whistles away, all the stories that need validation, right? How can I be of service? Can I help? And the answer was yes. And then it just started. And now it's these interviews, and they've been so amazing, so rich. Each of yours has been different. And all of them have like so much information. It's so fucking cool. It's been rad. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. Although I've been around your space, I was not anxious or nervous, but I was wondering, I wonder how this time is going to go. Because, I mean, I have that one memory and that one experience that we've shared.
Yes.
And I'm like, imagine months of just going higher and higher.
Mm.
I'm,
Well,
I'm, I'm
actually, it's
super.
going inwards and inwards and inwards. It's to that Idlozi.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And yes, there might be, because we're growing spiritually with Zola as well, obviously in our individual spaces,
Yes.
but then together then as well.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, we started the products I was telling you, I think via text. And I won't lie, I've always, because I was in the TV space as well, right? Um, I, I've always felt like there's something that I'm supposed to be doing with the space I'm in,
Mm.
but doing a lot of unlearning with what's
Yes.
there.
Yes.
I've always known that I have to preach the truth, whatever the truth is right now.
Mm.
You understand? And obviously at the time, I don't have the knowledge of like the galactic space you talk about. Like I don't have, but it's been bugging me, Briggs. It's been bugging me. I remember earlier this year, I ran into some cash, and I wanted to even shoot a pilot. Like I was so yearning because everyone who comes to me, because I think I also play a role of being not a guide, but I sort of help a lot of people.
Yeah.
I can't articulate the word, but
Yeah.
people always come to me and ask these questions.
Yes.
And so I know that there's a purpose I have to play in guiding people the right direction as well.
Yes. 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 And that's
Ends
the
up
thing when we and it's scary because that's exactly why I held back of like for so long. I mean, it's time for me to do this, and I'm so grateful. And it was a big initiation for me to step into creating this space for 7 months, because it's now not about the mushrooms. It's about the medicine that I hold, the medicine that I carry, the wisdom, right? And to share that, and to at any point in time let anybody know that I am always the eternal student, most importantly. And that's what's so scary about presenting, is for everybody at all times to know that I am not a guru. I just have certain experiences on earth, and based on how I read the map of this universal structure, this universal time matrix, if I'm reading the map over 10 years in the way I have, then there's no reason for me to doubt myself in this now moment. And so let me create, because also in non-attachment, it's like, well, this is going to be fun. This is going to be awesome. It is in service. Again, by no means am I saying I'm a guru, but I've got certain experience, and I do have people waiting to receive that information. What they do with it is what they do with it, you know. But like you were saying, it's like people come to you as a guide, and it's scary now. It's scary now to be that guide, particularly if you open in the social media space like I am, even though my following is very small and all of that. But it's scary because we do care, and we want to, you mentioned truth, you want to speak the truth, and truth is such a subjective thing, right? But is there an ultimate truth? I feel like
perception.
yes, but I feel like more and more and more there is, and also not. And then we also have to understand, that we're in an ever evolving code. So the truth may shift constantly, you know. It's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's
But it
difficult.
sure is exciting and adventurous. It sure is exciting and adventurous. And it's going to be interesting with you and Zola, because I think this is going to be hugely activating for you. However, like I said to you in your mushroom ceremony before you came in, I was like, listen here, I'm not dealing with your angry ancestors. We're working at a different level. You remember that, right? So it's much the same that we're going to step into this group of like, hold your channel, hold your space in this grid system first. First, let's, hold on, I want to use the word correctly. Anchor. I was going to say perfect, but we strive for perfection, but we anchor in this grid system correctly, then you allow what comes in to come in. And I think that's going to be very difficult for you guys, or not very difficult, but it's going to be what your channel seeks, as like, now I can feel comfortable with this, and know that what is streaming through is coming from this heart. Not that I'm saying it hasn't, I'm just saying this is extra training on that, and I think it's going to be really, really powerful. Yeah. Is there any last message or message you would give to those on their awakening path, or a message for planet Earth, or a prayer before we sign off here?
I think, not even thinking of it, the heart will never lead you astray. So, okay, that's debatable. So,
Also not though, because if we look at
yeah,
like every person coming into our lives for a reason to learn a specific lesson, we may have said, oh my gosh, that relationship was an absolute diabolical situation, but it was part of the soul contract for you to step into that frequency, for you to learn and for you to grow. So yes.
yeah. So I think I said this to one other person besides. I think, yeah, this is my ultimate code and message. So whenever there's lots of money around me, right? Now there isn't, but whenever there is, I'm never grounded. I'm never happy. I don't want to sound cliche, guys, but we can buy everything for the kids. We have fun. We're chilling at home, but I'm never fulfilled. And then the minute where I'm just breaking even or I'm just scraping through and I'm okay, I feel fulfilled. Um, and I help people, I feel fulfilled. So I've been asking myself the one question of why, what does my heart need to be content? And I realized that my heart just needs to be.
Yes.
So my message to everyone, whether you're in the same path as I've journeyed in traditional spaces, let's go back to basics. Let's peel off all the layers and listen with the heart. We will never be led astray if we listen with the heart. We will never make the mistakes of going to a wrong sangoma or whatever, or this or that. We will manifest, we will do everything we were just designed to be. Just let's listen to the heart and live by the heart.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I could go into teaching there, and I guess I will, just to extend on that, is in order to listen, we have to create space and stillness around us. And so this is where technology comes in, and where we just need to come to stillness so that we can listen and get a correct answer to the questions we have. And so you are the medium, you are the sangoma, you are the healer, you are the shaman, you are the clown, you are the actor in this profound space called Earth. And things are shifting in the most profound way, in the most profound way, in the most profound way. And it really, 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 really is about the planets. Like, it's like, what does it mean to seed a planet? You know, I know we were closing here, but there was a song I was listening to now, and I've listened to it so many times, but actually I hadn't listened, right? And it was about the flowers, like where will the flowers go? Will we have flowers left at our funeral, kind of thing. And I imagined like those that are very earthy, you know, the witches of the world, the Nyangas, whatever, those herbalists, you know, picking up seeds of flowers, and this is in a very futuristic viewpoint. Like, we've got this flower factory of these beautiful things that used to be on Earth, and it's us that's seeding. We are seeding. How did the planet get seeded? So we're going from history back to the future, revolving in this now moment. And it's about seeding the planet. What are we seeding? What are your thoughts seeding? What seed are you watering? You know, what is flowering within you? We are God creator beings, God sovereign and free. Thank you for your time, Lusama. Lots of love, and I look forward to having you on the container. Thank you for your time. Tokoza. Cheers. Bye. Let me just press stop.